Imagine a world where innocence starved, hope faded, and survival became a daily rebellion. Today we uncover the haunting truths of the Nazi regime through forgotten images, stories of unimaginable cruelty and unyielding resilience. Stay till the end, because some truths demand to be seen. This capture, reflecting the Jewish children boarding the Kindertransport, leaving Nazi-occupied Europe for safety. The Kindertransport saved 10,000 Jewish children from Nazi persecution, sending them to Britain and other safe havens before the horrors of the Holocaust began. For these children, the Kindertransport represented both survival and the heartbreaking separation from their families. Jewish families forced to board the last train to Auschwitz, unaware of their fate. Families in their final moments before entering Auschwitz were herded onto trains with no knowledge of the atrocities awaiting them. The train tracks that led to Auschwitz remain a powerful symbol of the pain and loss endured by so many innocent victims. A young Jewish child with his parents, starved and emaciated in the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II. The Warsaw Ghetto was one of the most horrific examples of Nazi brutality, where thousands of Jewish families endured starvation and disease. The strength and resilience of children, like this one, shine through despite the unbearable conditions they faced. What was the moment that changed the course of history in Paris? Find out how the French resistance and allies made a triumphant stand against tyranny, and comment below. The French resistance and allies celebrating the liberation of Paris in August 1944. In August 1944, the Allies and French resistance liberated Paris, ending 4 years of Nazi occupation. The liberation was a symbol of hope for the French people and a major turning point in the battle against Nazi tyranny. Children of the Theresienstadt ghetto, where many suffered and died under Nazi rule. Theresienstadt, a so-called model ghetto, was a deceptive front for the horrors that awaited its residents, especially the children. The children of Theresienstadt faced unimaginable suffering, but their stories are often overlooked in the broader narrative of the Holocaust. An American soldier saying goodbye to his family before heading to D-Day in June 1944. Before D-Day, many soldiers wrote emotional goodbyes to their loved ones, not knowing if they would ever return. These final moments captured the courage and heartache of those who fought to liberate Europe from Nazi tyranny. A courageous smuggler hiding Jews in Nazi-occupied territory during World War II. Countless heroes, many ordinary people, risked their lives to smuggle Jews to safety during the Holocaust. Their acts of bravery saved thousands of lives, demonstrating that resistance could come from the most unexpected places. Nazi soldiers surrendering to the Soviet forces in Berlin in May 1945. As the Soviets closed in on Berlin, Nazi soldiers were forced to surrender, marking the collapse of the Third Reich. This moment marked the end of a brutal dictatorship that had caused immense suffering across Europe. What happens to innocence when war takes everything away? Let's discover the untold stories of children who survived the horrors of Buchenwald. Children in Buchenwald concentration camp, stripped of their innocence by the horrors of war. In Buchenwald, children were subjected to the cruelty of Nazi oppression, their lives forever altered by the atrocities they witnessed and endured. Their faces tell the heartbreaking story of innocence lost in the chaos of war. Resistance fighters who defied the Nazi occupation in occupied Europe. The brave men and women of the resistance played a vital role in sabotaging the Nazi regime from within. Their courage and determination were instrumental in the eventual defeat of the Nazis, even though they operated largely in the shadows. Soviet soldiers liberating Auschwitz, exposing the full scale of Nazi horrors. On January 27, 1945, Soviet soldiers liberated Auschwitz, uncovering the horrifying scale of Nazi genocide. This liberation revealed the true extent of the Holocaust, leaving the world in shock and disbelief at the horrors that had taken place. A Holocaust memorial commemorating the millions who perished under the Nazi regime. Holocaust memorials around the world stand as somber reminders of the lives lost and the horrors endured. These memorials not only honor those who were murdered, but also ensure that the atrocities of the Holocaust are never forgotten. This story needs to be heard. Subscribe now and stand witness to history's darkest moments. Historical image of the Battle of Stalingrad in 1943, marking a critical turning point in World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad, one of the deadliest confrontations in history, marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The defeat of Hitler's forces at Stalingrad proved that the Axis powers were no longer invincible. What happens when the face of cruelty finally confronts its own reflection? Let's uncover the story of a Nazi officer's remorse after the war. A German Nazi officer reflecting on his role after the war ends in 1945. After the war, many Nazi officers faced the consequences of their actions, some reflecting on their roles in the atrocities. Their regret came too late for the millions who suffered under the regime's brutality, but it serves as a reminder of the cost of blind loyalty to tyranny. Families displaced by World War II seeking refuge and starting anew in post-war Europe. In the aftermath of World War II, millions of refugees were displaced, struggling to rebuild their lives amid the ruins of war. This refugee crisis highlighted the long-lasting impact of the war, as families tried to find safety and stability in a world forever changed. The original pages of Anne Frank's diary, filled with her thoughts and dreams, written while hiding from the Nazis. Through her diary, Anne Frank gave a voice to millions who suffered in silence during the Holocaust. Her words are a poignant reminder of resilience and humanity in the darkest times. Her enduring legacy continues to educate and inspire people around the globe. A photograph of conspirators involved in Operation Valkyrie, moments before their execution. In 1944, German officers attempted to assassinate Adolf Hitler to end the war. The failed coup led to brutal reprisals, but it symbolized the courage of those who stood against tyranny from within. Their story highlights the internal resistance that existed even within Nazi Germany. A photo of the Enigma machine used by Nazi forces, cracked by Allied cryptographers. The Allies' success in deciphering the Enigma code, led by Alan Turing and his team, was pivotal in undermining Nazi strategies. This technological breakthrough saved countless lives and shortened the war. It also laid the groundwork for modern computing technology. What did these leaflets cost? Let's discover the incredible courage of the White Rose movement and their fight against Nazi oppression. Leaflets of the White Rose movement scattered across a university floor. Led by students in Nazi Germany, the White Rose movement used words to resist the regime's propaganda. Though its leaders were executed, their bravery inspired future generations to fight for justice. Their sacrifices underscore the enduring power of moral conviction. Aerial view of Dresden, reduced to rubble after Allied bombing in February 1945. The bombing of Dresden was one of the most controversial episodes of World War II, leaving the city in ruins and sparking debates about the morality of targeting civilians in war. It remains a stark reminder of the devastating toll of war on innocent lives. Unseen photographs from Eva Braun's personal collection, revealing life within Hitler's circle. Eva Braun's photographs offer a chilling glimpse into the private lives of Nazi leaders, highlighting the stark contrast between their normalcy and the horrors they orchestrated. These images serve as a haunting reminder of the banality of evil. A historical photo of civilians leaving the destroyed city of Warsaw after the 1944 uprising. After the Warsaw Uprising was crushed, the city was systematically destroyed by Nazi forces. The exodus of its citizens became a tragic symbol of resilience and loss. This event epitomizes the enduring spirit of those who fought for freedom against impossible odds. A photograph of Oskar Schindler with the workers he saved from certain death. Through his factory, Schindler saved over 1,000 Jews during the Holocaust. His story became a powerful testament to the impact of one person's moral courage. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, humanity and compassion can prevail. It is the glimpse of Allied forces storming Monte Cassino, a key German stronghold in Italy. The fierce battle for Monte Cassino in 1944 was a turning point in liberating Italy from Nazi control, demonstrating the Allies' resolve despite immense challenges. Its success paved the way for the eventual Allied advance into Rome. A picture of American soldiers witnessing the atrocities at Dachau concentration camp. The liberation of Dachau revealed the full extent of Nazi brutality, leaving liberators and survivors forever haunted by the horrors they encountered. This moment marked the beginning of justice for the countless victims of the Holocaust. What did the world lose in an instant? Witness the moment that changed history forever and redefined warfare. This photo shows the mushroom cloud rising over Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. The detonation of the atomic bomb brought an abrupt end to World War II, but introduced a new era of global anxiety. The devastating impact reshaped humanity's view of warfare forever. Its legacy serves as a solemn warning about the dangers of nuclear conflict. A refugee camp in Cyprus where Jewish survivors waited for resettlement in Palestine. Even after the war, many survivors faced limbo, living in camps as they awaited the chance to rebuild their lives in a new homeland. Their perseverance reflects the enduring quest for safety and dignity. Construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961, dividing East and West Berlin. Though built after World War II, the Berlin Wall became a defining symbol of the Cold War, tracing its origins to the ideological divides that emerged at the war's end. Its fall decades later symbolized the triumph of unity over division. A Nazi rally showcasing the regime's propaganda tools. The Nazi regime's control over information allowed them to spread hateful ideologies, showing how the media can shape and manipulate public perception during conflict. It is a sobering lesson on the importance of safeguarding truth in society. Don't miss the full story. Subscribe and stay informed on the events that shaped our world. A group of orphaned children in a post-war rehabilitation home. Orphanages like Kinderheim work tirelessly to provide hope and healing for the youngest survivors of the Holocaust, helping them rebuild their shattered lives. These efforts ensured that even the most vulnerable could find a path to recovery. British forces advancing during the Battle of El Alamein in 1942. El Alamein marked a critical turning point in the North African campaign, halting Axis advances and securing a strategic victory for the Allies. This victory bolstered Allied morale and strategic dominance in the region. Allied troops crowding onto boats during the Dunkirk evacuation in 1940. The rescue of over 300,000 soldiers from Dunkirk was a remarkable feat of coordination and determination, showcasing the strength of unity in the face of adversity. It became a symbol of hope and resilience for the Allied forces. Did the Treaty of Versailles really bring peace, or did it set the stage for the next World War? Let's find. The signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, shaping Europe's future. Though it ended World War I, the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles planted the seeds for World War II, illustrating the complexities of peace agreements. Its consequences highlight the importance of fairness in rebuilding after conflict. Inflatable tanks and fake artillery used by the Ghost Army during World War II. The Ghost Army used ingenious tactics to deceive the Nazis, proving that creativity could be as powerful as firepower in wartime. Their efforts showcased the critical role of psychological warfare in modern conflicts. Crowds celebrating VE Day on May 8, 1945, marking the end of World War II in Europe. Joyful scenes erupted across Allied nations as people celebrated the surrender of Nazi Germany, signaling a hard-earned victory and the promise of a better future. It was a day of relief, remembrance, and renewed hope for the world. A historical glimpse of courtroom sketches of the Nuremberg trials, with Nazi leaders on trial. The Nuremberg trials marked the first international war crimes tribunal, holding Nazi leaders accountable for atrocities committed during the Holocaust and World War II. These trials laid the foundation for modern international law and underscored the principle that no one is above justice. A photograph of Nazi officials at Wannsee, where the Holocaust was planned. The Wannsee Conference in 1942 saw Nazi leaders formalize plans for the final solution, the genocide of European Jews. This chilling meeting demonstrated the cold, bureaucratic nature of the Holocaust, underscoring the calculated evil of the Nazi regime. This is photo of a synagogue set ablaze during Kristallnacht, November 1938. Kristallnacht, a nationwide pogrom against Jewish communities, marked the escalation of Nazi persecution. The destruction of synagogues and businesses and the arrests of thousands foreshadowed the horrors of the Holocaust. Want to dive deeper into history's turning points? Hit subscribe and explore the events Soviet soldiers raising their flag amidst the ruins of Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad was a brutal, pivotal conflict that turned the tide against the Nazis on the Eastern Front. The Soviet victory marked a significant step toward Allied triumph in Europe and demonstrated the resilience of the human spirit. A photo of a hand-drawn map of Auschwitz created by escapees to expose Nazi atrocities. A few brave individuals managed to escape Auschwitz and smuggle evidence of its horrors to the outside world. Their courage brought the truth of the Holocaust to light and contributed to international awareness of Nazi war crimes. This is the photo of American troops defending against a German counteroffensive in snowy Ardennes forests. The Battle of the Bulge was the Nazis' final major offensive on the Western Front. Despite initial successes, the Allies repelled the attack, hastening the end of the war in Europe. What drove ordinary people to risk everything to save others during the Holocaust? Connect to this photo. The historical glimpse of a medal awarded to a Holocaust rescuer, recognized as righteous among the nations. Thousands of non-Jews risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust, earning the title Righteous Among the Nations. Their acts of courage and compassion exemplify the best of humanity in the face of unimaginable evil. A child receiving bread during the 900-day siege of Leningrad. The siege of Leningrad was one of the longest and most harrowing sieges in history. Despite immense suffering, the city's inhabitants displayed extraordinary resilience, becoming a symbol of Soviet defiance against the Axis powers. A photo of the members of the French resistance sabotaging Nazi operations. The French resistance played a crucial role in disrupting Nazi supply lines and aiding the Allied invasion. Their bravery and ingenuity in guerrilla warfare were vital to the liberation of France. This is a picture of the B-17 bombers over German industrial centers during World War II. The Allies' strategic bombing campaigns targeted Nazi infrastructure, crippling their war machine. While effective, these raids raised ethical questions about civilian casualties in warfare. Belarusian partisans ambushing Nazi patrols in dense forests. The partisans of Belarus waged a relentless guerrilla war against occupying Nazi forces. Their efforts disrupted supply lines and demonstrated the power of grassroots resistance movements. A photograph of the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe in Berlin. Holocaust memorials worldwide serve as solemn reminders of the genocide and its victims. They inspire reflection and ensure that the lessons of history are not forgotten. Remnants of Nazi bunkers along the French coast, part of the Atlantic Wall. The Atlantic Wall was a vast system of coastal defenses designed to repel an Allied invasion. Its failure during D-Day underscored the limitations of Nazi military strategy. Thanks for watching.